You're listening to The Broken Meeple Show, a podcast that speaks passionately about board games for the benefit of those who play them. My name's Luke Hector, best known for the Broken Meeple YouTube channel, and I'm an everyday gamer just like you. And I'll be talking about reviews, top 10s, and just about anything that connects me to board games. As long as I have a tea or coffee in hand, that is. So grab a cup, relax, and enjoy. And remember, it's only a game. Hi everyone, Luke Hector here, another podcast, 113, and luckily I'm able to do this one because a bit under the weather yesterday. Why I seem to get ill on weekends, never on work days, I don't get it. But nah, I have no idea what happened. Food intolerance, food poisoning, bug from somebody, a garage bug from somebody at work, I don't know. But yesterday I had some mild, symptoms, dicky stomach, fever, stiff muscles, I thought it was going to be a flu for a second, and but I woke up with no energy whatsoever. I woke up at 5 in the morning and woke up at 7 in the morning. I was hot, flustered, and I just had zero energy. Like, I was absolutely, I might as well have not gone to bed. It literally did nothing. So I basically committed myself to sitting on the sofa for most of the day and binge watching the Apothecary Diaries, which was my current anime series I've been watching. So not much else really, but thankfully a decent day of rest and a good night's sleep, had a much better sleep last night, means that I'm feeling mostly better. My stomach is still a little bit dicky. It doesn't want me to eat anything too indulgent today, so that's fine. We'll just feed it soup and crackers and muesli and stuff like that. That'll be fine. I need to stay hydrated like you wouldn't believe because it's hot in here because I can't open the windows while I'm doing podcast reviews, but I do get to at least drink some squash out of a Stein cup, which is the same Stein cup I bought from Bruges, as you can see. Yeah, I bought it on my last cruise when I went there and visited the beer museum. Seriously, if you've got couples that are on a date that want to go somewhere for like a date weekend or something, Bruges is a good one to go to. But other than that, I feel okay. I don't have the fever anymore. It's just, I think, the dicky stomach. My energy seems to have returned. And even then, this morning, I took my car in to get the brakes inspected. And I had an hour and a bit where basically while they were doing that, I went to my gym and just did an hour of cardio while watching more of the anime. So, just sat on a bike for half of it and did uphill walking for the rest of it while watching anime. And I seem to have come out of that pretty good, actually. I don't know. I think some low intensity cardio, I think, is good for the system when you're recovering from when you're on like post recovery. People will certainly scoff at me, and certainly my mum will scoff at me when I say stuff like that, because they'll be like, "It's like, wait a minute, you went to the gym when you were trying to recover? Are you mad?" It's like, but I don't know. I can't just sit around and do nothing all day. I mean, I've had to write off a Saturday. I get 2 days of a weekend and half of it's gone because of a stupid illness. Why it couldn't afflict me on the Friday or the Monday or something like that? No, it has to afflict me on a weekend. But, oh, well, sucks to be me. I mean, I was hoping to, get some more gaming stuff done, do some more editing. I've got a top 10 list of games I've warmed up to in the mix. So that's, delayed a little bit. So I figured I'd just wait till this podcast. But I have been doing quite a lot of content recently, as can be proven. So, looking at this, since the last one, we got 3 speed reviews: Thunder Road, Vendetta, El Paso, and Timbertown. Definitely recommend having a look at those, particularly the last one. And yes, I do have a somewhat amusing title for the the Timbertown one. The euphoric feeling I've had when I was editing the review and then realized, oh yes, I can use that intro. Oh joy, as I never felt so good in my life. And, 1 or 2 people weren't a fan of it, but let's face it, I've got 100% like rating there. So something tells me more people are fans of Leslie Nielsen than, not. But hey, at the end of the day, I'm getting sick and tired of the way PC culture is these days. So, if we can have the Dice Tower do the most sucky, cringeworthy jokes possible for their titles, and we can have a board game review channel literally called Board Game Bollocks, then I'm allowed to make a dodgy joke for a title of a video that's paying homage to a time period where comedy was actually funny, which was the 80s and 90s, when you could have stuff like Mel Brooks comedy and Leslie Nielsen and all that stuff. So I make no apologies, but that's 3 speed reviews there, and I say a top 10 in the works. But other than that, not many other updates, other than I'm just very happy with the way the channel's kind of gone in terms of views. I mean, I'm getting good reviews even for speed reviews. Life of the Amazonia, 3 and a bit thousand. The solo reviews I did, 15,000, nearly 10,000. Last podcast, that's kind of typical, but free speed reviews. Speed reviews normally don't get very many views at all, but I mean, nearly 3,000, 2,500, 2 and a bit thousand. I'm kind of shocked. I think ever since I passed the 25,000 mark, viewership does seem to have gone up quite a bit for recent videos. I don't know how it is for older stuff, but I mean, Galactic Cruise, 9.5, that'd be great to get that to 10, 20,000 for the top 10 of all time, 11,000 for the next. I mean, when was the last video I did? Not including podcasts. Podcasts tend to get lower views anyway, but the last video that had disappointing views that wasn't a podcast, probably, I don't really know. I mean, Undergrove's a bit undervalued because that's a speed review. That's only 1,700, and that was released in early February. So that's a pretty disappointing video. But I mean, even like the Alpine and Woodland expansions, the Forest Shuffle are like 4,008 since February. So there's some good stuff. I mean, thank you everybody who watches the show and engages and engages in civil debate and that. I had to deal with 1 or 2 trolls in recent weeks, but generally pretty good. And my way of approaching comments is I keep saying now at the end of each video, debate, be civil, be friendly, and all's good. But if you start attacking or, undermining integrity and stuff like that, then I'm going to have problems. But, generally, like I say, just keep a good civil discussion and we get, lots of comments on the videos and everything's all good. So yeah, not much else to really say on that. Now, I don't have any really games I've played or anything like that because I'm hoping this episode will be shorter. How many times do I say that? It never works. But mainly because I just want to get on with the 2 topics, which I think I'm going to take a fair bit of time for each of them. So I just wanted to make this basically a 2-part, an episode of 2 halves. I don't know, how else would you say it? Half of which is going to focus on the UK Games Expo. Because I have some announcements and, some general feedback to say about that. And also we're going to blindly go into the Golden Geek Awards. These awards that I'm never a fan of. I find that their voting is a little bit skewed. I think the people who vote on these care more about the fact that it's their favourite game rather than it's in the right category. And I already know one game that's been dominating those awards, which I'm not a fan of. So, you get to hear me rant about those later. But I'll be going in mostly blind to that. So, other than that one game, I don't know what other games have won what category. So, I'll talk about those later. But we're just going to jump straight into the UK Games Expo. So, UK Games Expo. I wasn't going to go to this originally, but things have changed. Basically, I was thinking, it's going to cost a lot to go there, and there's not that many new games, and open gaming's a bit of a pain now there, and it's like, I don't know. Well, 2 things have happened. Firstly, I'm now going to stay in an Airbnb with Mark Monk from Ninja Geek Games and his mates. That means that my cost of accommodation is cut right down. Yes, it's half an hour away from the expo. That's a bit of a journey, I think 35 minutes. But for that small blemish, I think cutting my accommodation down by literally to a quarter of what it would cost normally, I think is worth it. So I'm more than happy to do that. And it means that if I do decide to go back in the evenings, I've got people to play games with, so that's not so bad. But also because I will now be helping out Drander Games there. So I'll see if I can get their logo up on BGG. But basically, I'm going to be helping them out. So they are the publisher who have done some various games I've reviewed, like Explorers of Navoria. They've got the new Galactic Cruise that's there, so that's going to be a big deal. They got another one called Mutagen, I think, coming out soon. They did Solar Storm, Pioneer Rails, Isle of Trains that I've given good praise to. And I think the newest one that they're doing there, I can't remember, is it on here? Lost Lights, that was last year. I thought they had another one coming out this year. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess it is just Mutagen then. But as I say, they know more details than me. But I will now be helping them out at the Games Expo. So I don't know what hours I'm doing. I know I've got to do about 15 hours there, and I will probably chip in for setting the thing up. So I'll go to the press preview on the Thursday and then help them set out for, it's not like I do much else on that day anyway. But yeah, I'll give them the time and I'll be demoing games. I suspect probably Explorers of Navoria and Galactic Cruise. So I better do my homework on those, because Explorers of Navoria is an easy one to teach. That ain't a problem. At Galactic Cruise, I'm going to need a script for that one, because that's a beast to teach. And Board Game Wizard does a very good job of doing it, so I might ask him for some advice. But yeah, should be. Well, actually, maybe Paul Groner might have some advice as well. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I'll ask both. I'm sure they'll one between the two of them. I'm sure I'll get something good. But yeah, by all means, come by the Dranda Games booth, see if I'm there, say hi. But obviously, if I'm demoing, I'm demoing, so I can only distract for so long. But yeah, I'm now going to be at the expo the whole weekend, and I'm going to be there more as a social thing. I mean, yes, I'm going to be meeting a few people for meetings and stuff like that, but not that many actually. You don't tend to do that many at the Games Expo. Most of it tends to be done at the press preview, so there's not many meetings I really need to do inside the trade fair. And the trade fair, I don't spend that long going around anyway because there's not that many games I'm interested in buying, so it's just a case of, might as well make half the time demoing and then the other half's all I need. But one thing I will do a lot less of this time is open gaming. Open gaming, for me, is just not working well enough there because it's a noisy place to do it. Whether you're at the Hilton or the convention, it's quite noisy, and that's not the best time to play a lot of games. Table spaces vary, so certain games are going to be harder to put them on others, but food and drink is very expensive there, so that's always a pain. And I don't know who I'm going to meet. It's hard to arrange meetups and stuff, and so on top of that, you've then got to carry the bags with you. Like, I mean, I'm carrying a Cajun drum bag of games on my shoulders for half the day, and it kills. And that was like when I was in my late 30s. Now I'm in my early 40s, and it just gets harder and harder each year for my shoulders to deal with it. So I'm basically making a stand where I might take some small fillers, like I might actually take a copy of Isle of Trains with me. Why not? I'm helping out Dranda Games. Might as well publicize some of their other games while I'm at it. But basically, stuff that could fit in a small bag or in a pocket, I'll take with me. Probably in a small bag because it'll be too hot to take anything with pockets in. But that will be probably the limit of the open gaming I do, because in most times the open gaming library has been crap. I mean, the Hilton one's not too bad, but the one at the actual halls, the NEC Centre. Unless they've done something major with that, oh god, I've still got bad memories of that. I mean, put it this way, I went to it in 1 year, and in the Euro category, there were 2 copies of Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. Firstly, you had 2 copies. Secondly, you put it in the Euro game category. Thirdly, at a noisy convention that requires you to use an app to play the game, you decided to put Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition as a demo copy for people to just take out themselves. I can't think of the mindset of which moron decided that was a good idea, but maybe they've improved it since, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. So really, open gaming is just going to be something I do by fluke, or if I happen to buy a new game there, I'll play that. I'll learn and play that, rather than take a bunch of stuff with me, because you just end up taking too much and you just don't need it. I'm going to travel lighter this time. I'm going to be a little bit more fleet of foot, like the Eldar from 40k. I'm going to fleet of foot around the place, not carry loads, and yeah, should be good. So I'm looking forward to it. So, I look forward to seeing you there as a publisher or designer or just as fans of the show. If you see me, come up and say hi. It'll be maybe a little bit tricky if I'm on a demo table, because obviously I've got to concentrate on demoing it for people. But other than that, I've only really got a few interviews, like meetings set in place, and it's not that many, so I shouldn't need to be rushing around too much. So if you do find me, then just, grab me and say hi. More than happy to chat to you. But the Games Expo in general. So there's a couple of things I just want to mention. Basically, it's a sort of planned layout, but also games to kind of look out for. Not to say that there's that many. So by all means, check out the main website for Games Expo, because it does have some useful stuff about getting there and parking. I mean, the opening hours are kind of as they are. So, 30th of May to the 1st of June, Trade Hall is typically from 9 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening, slightly earlier on a Sunday. But yeah, I mean, you don't need that much time to go around the Trade Hall. It really doesn't matter. And then the board game libraries are open for longer. They've got tournament halls and stuff like that. And then there's the Hilton libraries. But I pretty much never find myself in the Hilton anyway, because most of the stuff I'm doing is in the halls and it's a bit of a walk. But, if it turns out that way, it turns out that way, because you want to get a pint somewhere. And food and drink is expensive. I do warn you of that. But yeah, there's plenty of time to get what you need done. Getting there, I mean, you can park there, but it costs about £25 to prepay the parking for the 3 days. And you need to get to the car park at least a good 45 minutes early, I would say, because if you get there too much later, then you end up in a big queue waiting to get in said car park. So you are better to get there early. But you do get a shuttle bus to help you get to the main place from there, and the shuttle bus is pretty frequent and pretty reliable, but you may get times when there's a lot of people wanting to jump on it. So again, get there earlier and you're in with a better shout. But you can also get there by train, so you can get there to Birmingham International Train Station, and trust me, some people have made a good deal by staying in a city like Coventry, like further away, which the accommodation will still not be cheap, but it'll be cheaper, and getting the train in each day. If you're not going to be carrying a lot with you, then that's probably the best way to do it. I don't know why they bothered putting in coach and bus and by air, because, I mean, how many people are traveling to the UK Games Expo each day by air? That's what I want to know on that, but yeah. So there's plenty ways to get there. I'm not going to go into accommodation because accommodation is a bit of a nightmare. You just have to go on websites. You have to look on hotels.com and stuff like that. Do your best, but accommodation for this place is jacked up to ridiculous levels, and I think Airbnbs might be the way to go. You know, get a group of you to go up and visit the place, stay in a group, stay in one big apartment, stay in one big Airbnb or something, and cut the cost down, because you've only got to worry about each other's company for sleeping and breakfast. Other than that, you're doing your own thing around the halls, so it's not that bad. But yeah, so planning your visit is fine. In terms of general tips, I would say for going round the Expo itself is not the largest venue, but the NEC is a fairly big venue. So there's a decent amount of site space in there. I mean, we've got 2 new halls, and they've changed it, because last time I think it was halls 1 and 2 and a bit of 3. Now I think it's a bit of 3 and then 4 and 5 or whatever it is. But basically it's like on the opposite end of the center, because the other 2 halls are booked out for other things. So they've had to change which halls it's in. So that will be a little bit new for us. But, you know, at least it's still in that NEC center. And, you know, that's all well and good, but there's a decent amount of walking involved. Wear comfortable shoes. You know, it's hard, flat floors, you know, no inclines really, apart from, you know, where some stairs are. But although I would be a little cautious if you are, if you have issues with mobility, then there's ramps like in the main hall. Sorry, not in the main halls. In the sort of corridors outside the halls, you do have staircases and ramps, so you can get up and down easily enough. But I think inside the halls themselves, if there is a difference in levels, I don't think they have ramps. So you may find yourself having to go out of the hall around the side and back in the hall, another entrance. So just be mindful of that. But you are going to want to have some decent footwear. Carry some snacks with you. Food and drink is very expensive at this place, like prohibitively expensive, I find. And you're pretty much restricted to stuff like Subway, candy snacks, Wetherspoons, you know, and maybe some fast foodie places. But yeah, it'll cost you an arm and a leg to feed yourself. So I recommend taking some stuff. I usually take fruit, trail mix, nuts. Fruit and nut mix is perfect because you can get the sugar as well as the protein and the magnesium. Those things in combination are very good for keeping your energy levels up during a thing, and they're easy enough to carry and portable, and you can seal the packet. Perfect. But I also take plenty of drink. Drink's going to be expensive there. I don't know if they do have fountains for water, but they get queues quite often unless you go at very specific times. You know, the queue for the fountains is insane, and there's always a mess near there. So take some bottled water with you and keep it to hand. I recommend at least a 2-litre bottle of water, and then you can fill up little bottles from the fountain if you notice it's clear. But I think you need to not rely on the fountain as your primary water source, because you may find that you're queuing there for ages just to keep hydrated, and it's a pain. So I do warn you about that. The halls themselves, not particularly huge. I don't know if they've got a map here. Do they have a map? What's on? Let's have a look. Expo maps. They do have one. All right, let's load that up on the screen. Explore the map. Well, that's not a map. That's not a map at all. That is literally just a list of publishers. I mean, what am I supposed to do with that? Okay. I don't think you quite understand UK Games Expo what the idea of a map is, or what a map is. That is a list of publishers and where they might be. That is not a map. Clearly, somebody needed to, like, I don't know, give you a little bit of a an idea as to what that was. Maybe this one is Expo map. No, Expo map. Nope, it's the same. They clearly just do not know how to deal with a map. I mean, you've got. So what have they done with the maps anyway? It looks like they've. Okay, so I didn't think they had Hall 1 and 2. It may be that they've managed to get some of it, or they've split out, but yeah, it looks like they've got a lot of the different halls now. So I might be slightly wrong on that. So Hall 1 is just bring and buy and ticketing. Okay, so maybe only part of that hall was needed. I'm not a fan of the bring and buy personally. The bring and buy, I think, is too much faff. I mean, you queue there for ages. You've got all these games cluttered together where you're going to get damaged. There's theft issues at times. I just find that it's too much hassle, and so I skip the bring and buy personally. But if you want to jump in there, then by all means. I mean, I'm not even likely to go in there just to find stuff to buy. But looks like Hall 1 is your ticketing bit. I recommend you get there early and get your tickets, because that can queue up for a bit if you're not careful. So Hall 2 is, what have we got here? Demo games, playtest zone, family, children's zone. So I'm guessing Hall 2 is the bulk of the thing. I mean, that's weird, because I remember them saying that they didn't have Hall 1 and 2 at all, and they were going to have to use Hall 4 and 5. So something's changed. Something's changed since last year, when they were saying about this. So I'm curious. But what have we got then? So Hall 4 is where you're going to have open gaming, board game library, tournaments, and championships. So you might not need to ever set foot in Hall 4 if you're not going to do any of those things. So that might be a minimal thing for me. Hall 3 and Hall 3A, they're at the top end of the venue. So they will be the shop and drop, which is handy if you don't want to carry stuff around. You're buying way too much stuff. Pack and post, same deal if you want to get it couriered to you, and a help desk. Okay, so I probably won't need to set foot in Hall 3 myself, so it looks like all my activity is literally just going to be Hall 2. That doesn't sound like a lot. Just Hall 2. That really doesn't sound like a lot at all. I mean, if they restricted the space a little bit, I mean, I suppose if they've put things like shop and drop and exhibition services and all that lot into different halls, then that's freed up space in Hall 2 to actually do actual trade hall stuff, but yeah, that does seem a little bit small. I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. But I don't know. It's obviously they've managed to negotiate things since last year, so hopefully that'll be fine. And then you've got the Hilton Metropole Hotel there, sort of in the bottom over there. So if you want to do open gaming or just have a pint, have some food, the Hiltons are not a bad place to go. I mean, you'll probably get nicer food there than you will at the NEC Centre itself. It's still going to cost you an arm and a leg, but it may be nicer food. So yeah, that is the venue. You're going to do a lot of walking, so be prepared. All right, speaking of hydration. Lally, hit that down me. All right, so what else can we say about the Expo from a location standpoint? I said the bring and buy is a bit of faff. If you're going to do the bring and buy, go and do it early. Like, make that the first thing you do. Okay, the first thing you do before the event even starts. I think if you go there on the Thursday, sometimes they even let you get the games registered. Yeah, here you go. So open for booking in items only, Thursday 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Do that. Seriously, do not book your items in on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It will be hell. Okay, you seriously need to get in there. Thursday 6 till 9, you're in with a shout. All right, that's definitely worth it. It is all in cash. You can't bring bags and stuff like that into the bring and buy, so you will have to go in there basically stripped down essentially. And £5 is a minimum selling price, so even your cheap stuff needs to be there. But also, you can only register so many items. You can only do 20 items each day. So they used to let you do pretty much what you liked, and it just got ridiculous at that point. Now, though, you can at least do 20 items. Now, I might even have to think about, maybe I should do the bring and buy this year. I don't know, I haven't got that much to sell, and I usually do better on Facebook, really, especially when the Games Expo is going to take 10% of the proceeds anyway, which, well, the charity is, as opposed to PayPal and postage fees taking up 10% of the fees for shopping on Facebook. So, yeah, maybe, the bring and buy does look like it's improved, but still, you're not going to put in loads, so 20 items is your limit, and do it on Thursday. I cannot stress that enough. Do it on Thursday. All right, what else can we talk about? I'm not particularly interested in live entertainment personally, but people do enjoy the Dark Room. John Robertson does quite a few things there. I've never actually seen any of his stuff, but friends of mine who have gone to the Expo even just for a day seem to make it a thing to go there. So I'll take their word for it that this guy's funny and it's a fun little thing. So by all means, that's there. A few live games. We've got Werewolf Live, Giant Telestrations, Nightmare Live. You know, these are the same things I see every year, frankly. I don't even recognize any of this. I mean, Terry Pratchett. Join author and comedian Mark Burrows on a journey through the life and work of Sir Terry Pratchett. If you're a Terry Pratchett fan, that might be good fun. I've never read a single Terry Pratchett book. Please don't kill me. I don't read much anyway. What else have we got? So, Juliet Burton going rogue, get going with a geek girl living her best nerd life. I have no idea who you are. So, okay. Comedy game show. You know, it seems No Roads Barred seems to take up a lot of the thing. And Blood on the Clock Tower Live if you're one of the strange people in the world who actually thinks that's a good game. So, okay, yep, fine. Not much on the live entertainment, actually. Yeah, that seems a little bit lacking, really. I thought there'd be, like, more other stuff. Okay, what else have we got? You got children's zones, you got family zones. You know, so at least your kids have got something to do while they're there. I've already mentioned the board game library. I don't care about special guests. What else? We got show preview. So show preview. Right, so this is where I've got to be on the Thursday. This is not going to be much use to consumers, but if you are a fellow content creator, you might want to pay attention to this. So I go there on the Thursday, not only to help set up the booth for Drandigans, but I also go there because there is a show preview for press and media. So they all set up in rows, and all this stuff gets laid out, and you get to talk to them about it. So the reason I don't need to do too many meetings is because I tend to get a lot of my stuff done here in terms of finding out about games. And literally a sneak around here is enough to tell me what stuff I'm interested in and what stuff I couldn't give a monkey's about. I mean, I still get photos and stuff so I can put them on Instagram and that, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can find there that you want to be talking about and stuff that you don't. But goes on for 2.5 hours, runs between 6 and 8:30. I'll be there. I don't know if I'll be there for the whole 2.5 hours, but I'll certainly be there for, you know, good proportion of it. And yeah, that will be pretty solid. You know, I always do like this one, so I'll certainly be walking around there. If you're a fellow content creator and want to say hi. What else do we have? They do have a first-time timers guide on the site, so let's have a look at this. Are you going to load? Here we go. So, first timers guide, explore the trade halls. Okay, so by all means, I would check this out. Yeah, check out this page if you are new. So, first timers guide on the UKGamesExpo.co.uk website. I think that will be useful. I mean, I don't do role playing, so I don't get stuck into that. I hear it's good. People outside on the lakeside do a lot of kind of medieval style like reenactments and live stuff out there. In fact, an old acquaintance of mine, a girl I met on a cruise once, yeah, we got chatted, yeah, we had fun on the cruise together, but she's into this stuff. So I actually see her now and again, once a year when she comes to the expo, because she's involved in all of this, and they look good. I mean, they've got the tents, they've got the armor, they've got the weapons, they've got the, you know, campfires and stuff like that. They're pretty authentic stuff. So I mean, if this is kind of your thing, you know, if you're into sort of LARPing and roleplay and, you know, these sort of, yeah, I forget what the term is. I'm not sure they call it LARPing. I think they call it something else. But yeah, and by all means, you know, Living History Encampment, give it a look. It's quite cool to look at. Enter a tournament. I have never wanted to do a tournament ever since I did Netrunner as a tournament here. Games for me are fun when you're playing them casually or just playing to win as a one-off with the mates and stuff. But when you put money on the line, when you put like glory and stuff like this on the line, people are not playing it for fun at this point. They're playing it to kill you. So I remember playing Netrunner in a tournament, and I loved Netrunner. It was a great show, a great game. I enjoyed it, and you know, it was good fun. I did not enjoy my time playing Netrunner at a tournament, though, because the people there not only were more skilled than I was, so some games I was winning, some I got creamed at, but it just never felt like I could really chat to the person a moment, because they were more interested in me taking my turn than they were actually making idle chit-chat. And such is the way with a tournament. So, and tournaments for games that are just mostly based on luck, I just don't get the point of a tournament for that. You're basically just saying, right, come in for a tournament for this game. Who's the luckiest person here? That's basically it. So, You want to enter one, get on the booking system if you haven't already, because I don't know how quickly they fill up, but yeah, I don't really do tournaments. So, like I say, I go to the Games Expo, but it is mostly a go to the press preview, go to around the trade halls. From now on, I'm going to try and demo with people because I just don't need 3 whole days at the trade hall. It's just not necessary. And instead of doing loads of open gaming, I'm just going to wander around. I mean, if people are free and I'm free and I happen to be available to play a game with you, then as long as I like the game, I'll jump in with you. You know, I'm not saying I'm not going to do any open gaming, but I'm not going to instigate it. I'm not going to walk around, put my bag on the table and hope that people I recognize will come by and want to play. It's just, it doesn't work doing it that way. It works at like HandyCon and stuff like that and GridCon, but it doesn't work at the Games Expo. So, you know, I will just play that one by ear. So in terms of games, where are we up to? 30 minutes. Yeah, good thing I did this as a two-parter. I use Tabletop Together Tool as a universal means of, finding out for a convention what games I'm interested in. Now, this tool is invaluable. I mean, if you can give them a PayPal donation, I certainly recommend it, because for every convention I will go through, and it basically gives you all the games that are going to be there, and you are able to prioritize them into ignore, maybe, like, want, and need. And as you can see, 136 games for the Games Expo, 117 ignore. Now, some of those may be games that I've already reviewed and already know a bit about or already own, in which case I'm ignoring it because I don't need to look out for it there. It's not to say you shouldn't. I just personally am not. But yeah, it doesn't leave me with a lot of games that I'm overly interested in, okay? But I'm basically just going to go through the list of ones that aren't on ignore, and we'll see what there is. So I think I'm just going to go on to all, so you can get a glimpse on the screen of what sort of games are there. But yes, there's a bunch of stuff that I'm not interested in. I mean, I don't tend to go mad for trying to find every Sashi and Sashi game because they're quite expensive. I don't own Above and Below, so I don't want the expansion to that, for example. A Gentle Rain, I think, is one of the most overrated solo games I've ever seen. The amount of people who rave about this game when it's mostly just a luck fest, I don't get why everyone goes mad for this. Was it just the pretentious thing behind it and all the wording in the rulebook and stuff? But I don't get it. Why do people care about this? And as you can see, yes, I tend to ignore quite a few. So I'm just going to scroll down, and when I find something that isn't on my ignore list, then I'll talk about it. If you're watching and you want to put in the comments about a game that I have on ignore that you've spotted, and you're actually going to tell me it's actually amazing and I should take a look at it, then by all means do, because I'm more than open for other ideas. So we've got Avalon the Riven Vale. So this one is a game that I have kept my eye on for a little bit. The designers and publisher are very nice people, and it's basically kind of like an area control game, but with a very cool theme. I like all this Avalon stuff. Very good, gorgeous artwork. I like this whole fog of war thing before you start flipping areas and stuff. And like I say, it boils down to an area control game for the most part. But you've got this very cool card system with multi-use colored cards to get yourself through. Yeah, I can go on this page. That's fine. And yeah, to get yourself through it. So I only know so much about it because I've only had it explained to me, and that is the slight problem. I mean, they've got cool miniatures for it, but miniatures aren't the thing that I go for. I'm more interested in the card play, and it doesn't look like they've actually got many pictures of the cards themselves. It's very bare bones. Now, the main reason this is on my like list, though, is because demo only. Have they got to the stage now where I can actually play this game? If so, then I would like to play it, please. That is what I'm after. You've explained it to me. It sounds cool, but I can't get excited about it just by explaining it. You need to get me into a demo. So while I'm there, I will certainly attempt to do that. All right. Let's see, a bunch of others. I mean, there's a few coming out from Martin Wallace. I have no interest in Martin Wallace games. He's a lovely chap, but I just do not like his game designs. I can't help it. I don't normally go for the Alley Cat small games, but if you're into those small dexterity ones like Timberworks or whatever it was called, was it Timber Blocks? I can't remember. The one where we were stacking logs and barbecue stuff, I know, but or maybe that's the one. I can't remember. They all dime a dozen, but yeah, by all means. Let's see. Nope. Sashi and Sashi. Here we go. Class of 89. Now, this one's a demo only. This is from Paverson Games. Now, I need to get in touch with Paverson because I'm hoping I can try and get a review copy of Lufia, the music big heavy Euro that's coming out. So I'm definitely up for trying that one. But, I mean, I demoed it in the previous year, and I thought, oh, this has got a lot of promise, so I'm certainly up for finding out more. But Class of 89 is a demo-only one, and we don't have any images, so why am I interested in this? Well, I liked Lufia, so, okay, I'm down for seeing what they do next. But 60 to 90 minutes, okay, so curb time length, 1 to 4 players, and it's more the theme, because you can tell from the cover already, tape deck, pens, you know, old-fashioned cameras, a yearbook thing. You're basically trying to create a yearbook. So you're trying to, you're competing to create the most kicking yearbook by sending your uniquely skilled staff all over the school. Get a nerd herd of brainiacs, a team full of musclehead jocks, or a clique of style mavens who always look funky fresh. So you're basically trying to make a cool yearbook. All of this is screaming out theme. Like, it looks like they're going to pay real good homage to the theme of being in the 80s. We're talking like the Back to the Future school up. We're talking Saved by the Bell. In fact, they mention it here. Yeah. Breakfast Club, Saved by the Bell. You know, some tile placement, set collection, you know, worker placement. So this could be just a good fun one from a thematic perspective. So I'm interested to see what this is. But this is just a demo, so that's all I can really say. Ignore like. Creature Caravan. It's not a new one. It's 2024, but I don't really know a lot about this one. But I'm always interested in trying out, you know, Ryan Lockett games in general, because I do have a few of them on the shelf that are pretty cool. 60 to 90 minutes, so this one isn't like a crazy long one. It's not a massive campaign game, which is always good. You know, build a tableau of creatures while traveling through a magnificent and dangerous land. Take turns simultaneously, so less turn angst, less AP. Placing dice actions on their cards, moving the caravan on the map, blah, blah, blah. You know, I mean, card tableau games are a dime a dozen, but I always like his style of artwork. I think his card games are pretty cool. I'm interested to see what this one is like, and if it's more readily available, then, you know, that's the idea. Okay, and let's carry on down. Ignore. Yes, ignore. Nah, Explorers and the Warrior is definitely a game I would look at if you want a light casual game. I've just already done a review and sort of talked about that one to death. So you can check out my video on that. But that's why it's on ignore. Not because I'm saying you should ignore it, but because I don't need to look at it. Right, maybe Fetching Feathers. Now, this one is mainly because it's done by a guy called Chris Prescott. And Chris Prescott and the sort of Unfringed Games basically did a game a while back that I thought it was going to go to the actual Board Game Geek. Here we go. So, I don't know much about this card game. I mean, it weird looking cover, but, you know, a small little card game filler, I'm down for it. But the main reason is I know this guy. This guy did a game called Zuli, which was kind of like a Sushi Go cross with Ark Nova in a sense. It was an animal zoo theme, but it had a Sushi Go style drafting system. I think I reviewed this one a long time ago and thought it was a decent enough little card game for a seal of endorsement and that. But, you know, little small card games from British publishers and designers, I'm interested to see, you know, and I don't tend to care about Kickstarter ones, you know, and I don't think this was a Kickstarter. I think this one literally just came out. I could be wrong, but didn't feel like it was a Kickstarter one. But if this is another game from him, then by all means, I'm interested to see what it is. Okay, ignore, yeah, Galactic Cruise again. I've already reviewed it, so I don't need to talk more. Goat Simulator, the card game. This is done by Mood Publishing, the same people who did my Deep Rock Galactic game, which is now painted. It looks so cool. I can't wait to put that on the table and show you some Instagram photos. It's going to be awesome. But they're already doing Valheim, which I'm hoping I'll be able to get a review copy of because, you know, it would be nice. But I've never played the Goat Simulator or Goose Simulator or whatever they are. So these games, this is a time when, you know, I played Deep Rock Galactic to death. Haven't played it in ages. I think I've kind of reached to my end of tier with it unless something really new comes out for it. I've played Valheim to death on it, so, you know, I'm interested in that. This one, I don't have a connection to the game at all, but Bood have done a good job in respecting the IP of a game. This one is probably just going to be a complete chaotic card game fest, but then that probably suits the game in general. I'm interested just to know what they're going to do with this. Okay. Lost Lumina. This is another Dranda Games one. Don't know anything about this one, but closed drafting, area majority, animals, demo only, 2-player only game though. That's the only downside. But I thought I'd Maybe I'll put that on maybe or something, because it's 2-player only, so that means I've got less desperate interest for it, but I'm interested to see. Definitely want to have a look at the Lost Ruins of Arnak Adventure chest close up. I've already pre-ordered this, so I'm definitely getting it, because the folded space insert is all well and nice, but it doesn't cater for all the expansions very well, once you've got everything. But yeah, I'm definitely down to see what this one looks like up close. Lufia I already mentioned, so I'm hoping I'll be able to get a review copy of this. I definitely want to take a look at it in more detail. I enjoyed the demo of it in the previous year. It was good fun. This very gorgeous to look at, very well produced. But this idea of making instruments and getting people to perform with them, with these famous musicians, it's a cool theme, it's a really fun theme. Better than that, what was it called? It wasn't Lorcana, no. I forget what it was. I think it came from Devier Games, and I forget the name of it. It was from Devier Games and had a similar, musician theme to it. But that didn't really feel like it respected the theme that much. It seemed very abstract. This one, has some abstracted natures to it, but I think they are paying a little bit more homage to the theme. And this idea that you've got the different discs that you put on the locations, and depending on the numbers, mean the turn order and stuff. It was a good, solid game, so I definitely want to take a closer look at this one for review purposes if I can. Luz, why is... I think this one, the only reason Luz is on my like list, maybe I might put that down to maybe, is that it's 30 minutes, nice and short, published by Yellow, which typically means, fun little games. But I think it's mainly just because it's Asian origin, so that tends to mean quirky little card games, which are great. And card game deduction, trick taking. That sounds like a good, fun little game for me. And what have you got? Trick taking game. I love trick takers. Hold your cards in your hand without looking at them. How does that work? While you know the suits, only your opponents know the values. Look at your opponent's hands as you use the value of your cards and bet the number of tricks you think will win. I must admit, I mainly looked at the fact it was a trick taker. I haven't actually looked at the... Oh, I see. So the back of the... So it's got a sort of Hanabi style theme to it. But you've got a... Oh, okay. Alright, that sounds quite cool. So... Yeah, you will only be able to see the color. Your opponents will be able to see what values you have. And then guess the value. Although, I don't know, is that going to come just from more of a luck perspective? Because if you don't know you're not going to know exactly what your values are. Although I guess you could process some elimination it. This must deal out all cards. If it doesn't deal out all cards, this won't work. But yeah, that could work. But then it's still going to be a luck aspect. Because if you've got 2 of a particular line of numbers, you might know one's a 7, one's a 5, but you don't know which is which. I don't know, this is an odd one, but I'm going to leave it on like, because I would still like to have a look at this one. Scroll down. Nope. Definitely not Ponzi Scheme. Ugh, hate that game. Let's see, maybe Popcorn. I had a brief look at this at Essen. Looked like a fun, simple game themed around going to the cinema, running a cinema and stuff. It seemed like a cool idea, and it's deck and bag pool building, so that's always a good one. But demo only, I've just kept it on the maybe front. Revenant. I might put that one. I might put that one on ignore for now. Not because I'm going to ignore the game, but because I've already backed it on Kickstarter. And I've already demoed this. So I already know what this game is like to play. So I probably don't need to find out too much about it. Although it would be nice to do a review for this one. Maybe I will put it... Nah, actually, I already know the game. So it's not something I need to hunt out. Want? Oh yes, definitely I want to see the new aliens and the new stuff for SETI space agencies. It's everything about this expansion sounds like it's going to fix the few errors or few problems that I had with the original SETI game. I only just gave it a 10 out of 10. It could have been a 9 out of 10 for, on hand. It was definitely fluctuating between the two. If this expansion does what I think it's going to do for it, then it will be a guaranteed 10. So yeah, definitely want to know more about this. 6 Sojourns. This is another Red Raven game. I don't know very much about this one. It's just Red Raven games. I just want to try them out, really. But again, it's area control, so I tend to not have a huge amount of fun for area control games, so I'm very much more picky on those ones. And we've got the Sniper Elite expansions. I've got Sniper Elite. I think it's a cool game. Haven't brought out in a while. Maybe these expansions will help me do that, although they're not going to get published until next year, so I guess just seeing them in action will be quite cool. So yeah, some of these are just expansions, and actually, is that all the... Oh no, there's a second page. So ignore, Terraria, ignore. I've played the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. It's decent, but it is basically just a rip-off of The Crew. So I don't see why you would need to own all of them. We've got more Sashi stuff. Lord of the Rings Fate of the Fellowship. I think I'm going to be talking about that with the Asmodee crew as one of my meetings. That and Pagola, I think, is another one that you've got in line. So I'll find out more about this one. I rolled my eyes a little bit when I found out about this one because it just felt like, oh god, here we go, it's going to be more of this again. But I'm down to see what it's like. I like Lord of the Rings, so by all means, wow me. Ignore. Timber Town, I've put it on like... because I did this list a little while ago, but yes, I've just done a review for Timber Town, so by all means, check out that review, and by all means, go to Alley Cat Games and look this game up. If you want a casual two-player game, this is a damn good one. Towns of Law, Witcher, blah, 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 ignore, Whale Riders, old game. Yeah, so nothing else on there. So, yeah, there's not a huge amount of games that I'm looking forward to at the Expo, but this is kind of normal each time, so, it's just the way it's going to be. Whoa, 46 minutes. Okay, this won't be a shorter episode. Why do I keep saying that? It's useless information at this point. Let's just hydrate. Here we go. And now let's get into these awards. I mean, maybe I won't take too long rabbiting about these because I'm just going to skim through these, I think. But yeah, the Golden Geek Awards. So, oh boy. I'm not a fan of these awards, as I said. I think the categories get messed up as to what there is. I think that it's been mostly voted on by die-hard gamers who know what Board Game Geek is. So if you don't know what Board Game Geek is, you won't be voting on this. And if you're on Board Game Geek, you're probably a die-hard gamer, which means you're going to have a very skewed opinion as to which games to vote for. I usually find that these just come out with weird stuff now and again, which is why I like to look at them and rant about them, so I'm allowed to. But apart from what is on the screen here, which I'm doing my best not to look at, and the fact that I know that one particular game has dominated the awards a bit, from what I've heard, I don't know what's in these categories, who the nominations are, and what's in. All I know is that I think I did vote on this. I think I actually went on and voted to try and bring things to reason, but yeah, I'm not sure if it's made as much of a difference as I would like. But I've also voted on the Dice Tower Awards as well, so I've had to put my vote in for those. But I'm just going to go through the categories and just talk briefly about whether I agree, disagree, which one out of the runners-up should have won if it was there, because I don't know all the nominations. And yeah, you just get to hear me rant about some awards. That's what you like, isn't it? That's what you like. So what have we got? Two-player game. Guest of Robin Hood. That's a weird name. Guest, G-E-S-T. Kelp, Shark and Octopus, and Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth. Okay, well, that was kind of gonna be the thing, wasn't it? I mean, that's no surprise. The thing is, I've done my review on this. The game is good. The game is great. It's Seven Wonders Duel, basically, and that's the problem. It's Seven Wonders Duel. It already exists. So I've got my copy of there with Pantheon. That is how I like to play this game. This one is still great, so I can't exactly say I dislike it. I gave it an excellent rating, 9 out of 10. But I'd rather play the other one. I just don't think this one needed to be made. This was solely made to retain the Lord of the Rings license. You need to understand this. Publishers and movie industries, game industries and everything, when they get IPs, they can only hold on to IPs for a limited amount of time before the IP goes away. The rights to it. It's why Sony was doing all those god-awful Spider-Man villain movies. I mean, I love the Spider-Man franchise, but I hated those movies. But they have to, because if they don't, they lose the license. That's why they kept churning out all those loss-leading films that were garbage. Thankfully, they're getting wise to the fact that people hate them now. But that is how the licenses work. And the same thing with Lord of the Rings. Asmodee clearly have the Lord of the Rings license, but they needed to do something with it, and this is one of their ways of doing it. The game is excellent, but I still prefer Seven Wonders Duel. The tweaks that they make to this version, I think, other than the fact that the science tokens are a little bit more varied, I think everything else about this game is done better by Seven Wonders Duel. So, I'm fine with it winning the category, but it's just, I don't know, we're just giving so much props to something that already existed. Artwork presentation. Harmonies and Arcs was runner-up, and winner was Unconscious Mind. Okay, Harmonies has nice artwork. although I'm not sure I would have put it as like a potential winner. Arcs does not have good... What? Hang on a minute. Arcs got a contender. This game? That got artwork presentation. Are you kidding me? I mean, that doesn't even look that great. And if I can get off these dice and onto some of the cards, you know, what is it? Yeah, so I mean, that's your card. If you like this guy's artwork, fine. His artwork's fine on certain games, but this is not what I would call stellar, like, fantastic artwork, okay? And the trick cards that you've got, I mean, they're nothing special. It's just a few symbols and a little pattern. This was a runner-up. This is what I'm talking about, where people just put in their favorite game when it's in a category. Because there is no way in hell's teeth that it should have even been in the runners-up. However, thankfully, Unconscious Mind got it, which, yes, I think out of those three is just a surefire hit. Because, yeah, Unconscious Mind is not a perfect game. It's got great Euro mechanics. It looks beautiful, but it is a lot of faff to get to the table and a bit of a teaching nightmare. But it does look gorgeous. I mean, you know, the stuff on the map is, you know, so-so, but a lot of it is down to your player boards and cards. You know, your player boards have got the great sort of Vincent Dutrait style artwork on there, but if I can find the cards, yeah, you've got the different cards in two different styles. You know, everything in the real world is Vincent Dutrait, and everything in the dream world is Andrew Bosley. And yeah, these cards are gorgeous. I mean, they look, you know, the Dream World stuff is something that you might get out of a Dixit game. And then all the Vincent Dutrait stuff on your boards and that is gorgeous. So, yeah, I mean, out of artwork presentation, this is a no-brainer. Of course, it's got to be Unconscious Mind out of those three. Cooperative game, the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game, Slay the Spire, and Bomb Busters, with the winner being the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. I like the game. It's a good game. I have played it, but it does feel like a rip-off of The Crew. I mean, that's kind of what it is. And the game is fine, and I've played it solo. The solo is kind of weird, playing a trick-taking game solo, but it does kind of work. I'm not a fan of this art style, though. I get that some people like this art style, but I just find it very basic and very weird, so I'm not as big a fan. But, yeah, the game is fine, but it is just The Crew. And I'd rather play The Crew, honestly. You know, if you were going to tell me which of the two would you rather pick, I'd rather just play The Crew. So, again, this is a sad time for the industry where two of the awards on the Golden Geek Awards are won by games that are literally just re-implementation rip-offs of games that already existed and were better in the first place. So, yeah, that's the way our industry is going at this point. Alright. Okay, expansion. Arcs the Blighted Reach expansion, Heat, Heavy Rain, and Forest Shuffle Alpine. Well, Alpine goes a long way to fixing Forest Shuffle, so I would have given it to that personally. Not Heat, Heavy Rain. Nah, I've reviewed that expansion, it's not like that. But Arcs. Yeah, everybody likes Arcs. Well, I say everybody likes Arcs. Half the world likes Arcs, half the world doesn't. It's just the fact that the people who love Arcs love it to such high esteem that they won't shut up about it. But you know, this expansion is what they consider to be the best one. So the Blighted Reach was a campaign expansion. So normally you just played it as a one-off game. But if you're mad, you can play this as a campaign. As if it matters, because this game is a trick-taking game with a space theme shoved on it. It's not something that I would warrant as a campaign. I think it introduces some extra rules that bulk up the game in terms of its what you can do in it. But really, this was the best expansion? I don't know. I've not played it. I mean, I've got no interest in it. People who like Arcs say it's a good expansion. But bear in mind, you're already paying something like 50 quid or something to get Arcs. You had to pay more than the base game, I think, or on par with the base game money-wise to get this expansion. Ridiculously bad value for money there. Also, weight 4.5 out of 5. How the hell does that work? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. No way is this a 4.5 complexity rating. Although I'm pretty sure that's just 100 people who don't know what the hell they're talking about. Okay, fine. Alright, whatever. There wasn't that many good expansions this year anyway. Alright, let's carry on. Innovative. Are you kidding me? Seriously? Oh my god. Fromage, SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. I'm not sure I would call SETI that innovative. It's got some innovative stuff in it with the space agents coming out at different times. I mean, that is pretty cool. But Arcs wins innovative. an area control game combined with a trick taker. I guess I can concede that the design of the game is a little bit more innovative than other games. You know, the trick taking being used to do your moves, the ambition goals that you deal with. I mean, I guess I can give you this one. I mean, there wasn't a lot of innovation last year anyway, but I feel like there would have been better contenders than Arcs. But yeah, I don't recall there being a lot in this category for innovation. So I'll let you have this one. Light Game of the Year. Castle Combo wins it over Flip 7 and Captain Flip. Good. This is a good category. This is won by the game that should have won it. Castle Combo is a fantastic filler game. It is light, it is easy to teach, and this never goes badly every time I show it to people. Oh yeah. 10 minutes is a bit, even as a 2-player, I think 10 minutes is pushing it, but it's a short game. It's quick, and it's got good, mechanics in it. It's got good fun, easy rules, varied scoring. I mean, check out my review for more details on this. But yeah, definitely, this is worth picking up if you see a copy of it. Same people who did Far Away, if you like that filler game as well, which is also really good. So yeah, by all means, check this game out. Definitely worth it. In fact, I'm still on the hot review section. Yeah, Castle Combo board game review. What a surprise, because I really didn't expect much from it. And I got very surprised. So by all means, check out that one and leave your likes behind. That's quite a lot of likes for one of my videos, actually. So that's quite nice. Yeah, but definitely check that one out. Medium Game of the Year. I already know what's going to happen, but the I'm dreading the heavy one. I am dreading the heavy one. All right, Medium Game of the Year. Winner is Harmonies. Harmonies is not a medium game. And this is another problem with these categories. They put light, medium, and heavy. Now, this is already a subjective viewpoint anyway. But what have we got here? Medium Game of the Year. So, Harmonies wins it over The Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth and Endeavour Deep Sea. Now, I've never played Endeavour Deep Sea. I wasn't a big fan of Endeavour, so I wasn't desperate to play Deep Sea. I hear people talk well about it. I'll try it if it's on the table. But Harmonies is a pretty solid game, though. I will say that. It's cool. I like it's presented well, as I said. It's got good artwork on it. I like the spatial awareness. I like the card system. It is a very solid game. So I don't think it deserves quite the ridiculous hype that it was getting from people, but it is a good game. So by all means, check that one out. Oh, there is a god. Oh, there is so a god. Yes. Oh, this makes me so happy. This makes me so happy. Heavy Game of the Year. I thought this was going to be Arcs. Winner, SETI. Runner-up, Arcs and Civolution. The two games that people will not shut up about, despite the fact that Arcs is barely average. You can check out my review as to why that is a 5 out of 10 game. And Civolution, which it has some good aspects to it, but I'm sorry, you want to give me a 4-hour game that relies on dice randomness, then you've got problems with your game. Especially when it takes nigh on 30 to 60 minutes to teach the damn thing. It's a bit of a nightmare, okay? But SETI, I love. I love that game. To see that one beat them out, though, I mean, I would have bet money on Arcs and Civolution beating SETI. Because I thought there would be more die-hard lovers of those two games than there would be SETI. I mean, getting runners-up is still good anyway. You can have your consolation prize there. And Arcs already stole innovative anyway, so you can have that one. But, yeah. Oh, baby. Yes, to see SETI above Arcs and Civolution makes me so happy. It makes me so warm and fuzzy inside. Oh yeah, take it. Definitely. Oh my god, you actually got something right. Party game, Arcs. No, that would be funny, wouldn't it? Flip 7, The Gang, Things and Rings. Now, I don't know what Things and Rings is. I've actually played The Gang. I've got it on order, actually. The Gangs looks like it's a fun... The Gang is a fun game. I've played it. It's basically it takes elements of the mind and those sort of games where you can't communicate and you've got to figure out stuff. And normally those games I'm not as big a fan of, but The Gang uses Texas Hold'em poker to do it. So you get a hand of cards, you get the Texas, the turn, the river, the flop, the turn and the river and all that lot. I love Texas Hold'em poker. It's such a fun game. But you basically have to try and figure out whether you've got the best or worst hand out of the group based on Texas Hold'em poker. Now, granted, if you don't know much about how to play Texas Hold'em poker, it could skew the game about because you don't understand the value of a hand. But if you've got people who know how to play poker, this game is a great one. Flip 7, I don't know. I might be getting a review copy of that one. I did get an email recently about it, so hopefully that will come in the post at some point, and I'll do a very quick speed review on it, but I don't know what this is meant to be giving us, really. You know, people are loving it, but it says, right, score the cards in front of you or take another card, risking everything you hold, right? So flip 7. Flip over cards one by one without flipping the same number twice. How hard can that be? There's only one card, 2 2s, 3 3s, 4 4s. Okay, and there's a bunch of special cards. And I've seen some of these special cards. They could just give you extra points randomly. I mean, anything that just gives you random points seems like a daft thing to put in a game. But so basically, it's just push you luck. It's just, do you play it safe and bank points, or do you risk it all and go for the bonus by trying to get 7 in a row? That's all it is. It's literally just the equivalent of an Uno card game of push your luck. This is the best party game out there? I mean, getting bonus points like this is just giving people, really good. I mean, if I get a few cards and somebody gives me a plus 10 points card, I'm just going to bank it. I'm not going to carry on more. What would be the point? I don't know. I mean, maybe this is fun. I'm going to play it. If I get a copy, I'll review it, but I don't see where this is like a massive fun party game to deserve the winner of Party Game Award. I much prefer the Gang as a game, but I guess not everybody's a Texas Hold'em poker fan. I don't know about this one. I'll try it. I will try it. I've seen it played at HandyCon and people were liking it there, but this doesn't feel like, it doesn't sound like a game really, does it? I don't know. Maybe I'm just not the biggest Push Your Luck fan, who knows? Print and play, don't care. I don't know what print and play games exist. 52 Realms Adventures won it. I don't do print and play, so. Solo games, Slay the Spire, Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs, Imperium Horizons, with Slay the Spire winning it. Yeah, we didn't have that many great solo games in the last year. I don't care about Gloomhaven. I like Horizons by Imperium, but, I mean, to call it, Imperium Horizons is a bit dodgy to put on this list, though, because all Horizons is a standalone expansion to Imperium. It's the same game. It just gives you enough to play the game on its own. It just improved the rulebook a bit, which it did need. But that's it. So to put this on a separate awards for this year doesn't make any sense. That just feels like cheating. Slay the Spire, I have no idea. I mean, I've played Slay the Spire as a computer game, and I got bored within 60 minutes. I was just bored flipping over these very basic cards, attacking little monsters, and going up this track for, do I win or not? I can only imagine that playing this as a solo card game is just more faff because you're going to have to deal with all the cards yourself. You don't have the computer doing it for you. People find this really exciting. I mean, it could be cool. I don't know. But I found Slay the Spire to be boring as a computer game. I'm not the biggest roguelike fan. Hades was pretty decent, but then again, I get bored. The rinse-repeat nature of a roguelike game is just not fun to me, because you just rinse and repeat the same thing. It never feels like a different game. And so you get to a point where it's so, it's disappointing if you get to a point where you're slightly further and then you get killed. But then you've got to go through all the crap at the start again. And it's just, I don't want to rinse and repeat the same crap at the start to get to the point where I last died. I want to be where I last died and try to get further on. I don't get the appeal of a roguelike game. So I don't really care about this one, but I hear people talk about it, so clearly it must ring with some people. Thematic game, SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, wins it over Let's Go to Japan and Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth. Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth does not feel that thematic really to Lord of the Rings. It's mostly just art and pictures. And even then, Seven Wonders Duel, game already exists. Let's Go to Japan actually did a pretty good job of doing the theme well with that. I mean, it is basically a card game at the end of the day, but it does bring out that theme of planning a holiday little trip and getting stuff organized and stuff. So I've got to give Let's Go to Japan credit. I mean, I do think it's a bit overrated. I have reviewed this one. I don't think it's amazing, but I get the sort of appeal that it had. But the thing is, Let's Go to Japan is mostly about the scoring phase. I don't play games to go through the scoring phase. So that one I'm fine. But SETI, yeah, I'm happy with this one. I mean, it is admittedly a little abstracted in places, but it's taking the alien theme that isn't going around in spaceships and shooting each other. Love this cover. This cover is so gorgeous. But, you know, the stuff you're doing in the game does make sense for beaming out messages to outer space, the aliens revealing themselves as the game goes on. Great, you know, the fact that these cards are actually representative of real world things to do with this sort of thing. But some of these aliens are very thematic as well. I mean, there's an alien in this game where you play the card and then you put a marker 15 points ahead of you on the track, and when you get to that marker the effect goes off because it represents the messages taking longer to get to that alien than it would others because they're so far away. There's little touches like that that show that they really are thinking about theme. So yeah, thematic games were probably a little bit on the low side last year as well, but you know, I'm down for this one winning this category. I think certainly out of those ones. War game. To be honest, I'm not interested in war games. Arcs is, I mean, that is basically what Arcs is. You know, and I mean, why don't I just, I mean, one of the last few, yeah, I don't care about best board game app, whatever. I don't like doing Imperium that much. Best podcast, I don't give a crap. So yeah, so I mean, let me talk about Arcs. What is it I don't like about Arcs? You know, I've done a full review of this, so by all means, you can get your full details on that. But basically, I've got, you know, presentation, all that aside, whatever. It takes a while to get through the game. It's definitely a little group dependent. But here's the main sort of issues that I do have that sort of bugbear me with it. I don't find what you do in the game that interesting, period. I mean, you move around this weird sort of map, you put a few markers down for buildings, and occasionally you shoot up an opponent. It's a very basic war game in its basic variety, okay? But that's not the main thing. There's two main things that I'm not a fan of with this game, okay? The ambitions and the card system itself. I thought the card system was going to be really cool, but the card system has a major problem. So if I can find the best example here of the cards, I don't mind these cards with the special abilities on them, although they are not balanced. There are some that are way more powerful than others by far, but I need to find the actual, come on, God, why is it so, wait a minute, is that good enough? Yeah, okay, so look on here. So this is like the trick-takey system, right? You've got a couple of rules for playing like a zero cost card and stuff like that. But typically it's a standard trick-takey game. So somebody plays a card as an action. This is what we're likely to have to do. You've got to follow suit if you can. But if you want to do a different action at a lower intensity, you can play a different card. There's rules for face up and face down, basically, right? And the little notches on there also give you some benefit as well. The problem is that it can lead to a lot of situations where you don't have a lot of control over what it is you're doing in the round, because somebody might play a card that forces you to play your card. It's not the right timing. You can't exactly do much about it. And this is a game that doesn't feel like it benefits from a very tactical nature, because stuff just happens without you dealing with it. And what cards you draw cards randomly from a deck, and from a shuffled deck. And you may just get cards that do not relate to the actions you need to do this round. So you draw a bunch of these mobilization cards, but if you need to build stuff, then you're screwed, because you're going to have to build at really low intensities because you don't have a decent build card to do it with. But, that's one aspect. And there's more aspects to it than that. I can't remember it all now, and there's not enough time on this video. But certainly check out my review for a bit more detail on what I'm talking about there. But the ambitions as well. This is one thing I really do not like. Come on, ambitions. Show me ambitions. Yeah, we get it. You've got custom dice. It's still not artwork presentation-wise. It's still not worth it. Come on. Right, so these ambitions. Oh, God. Come on. Here we go. Right, so these ambitions. Here's the problem I have, right? Each round, and there's like 3 rounds to the game, basically, you are betting on, there's a minimum of 3 rounds. I think it can go up to 5. Typically, it ends in 4 or 5. I don't think I've ever played a game where it ended in 3, despite some people claiming otherwise. I think to end it in 3 rounds, basically, out of 4 players, 1 player must absolutely trounce everyone else, and the other 3 must be deaf, dumb, and blind. Or maybe they were playing against squirrels. I don't know. But yeah, that's the only way you win in 3 rounds. So these ambitions represent how you're scoring victory points, basically. So Tycoon, Tyrant, Warlord, Keeper, Empath. They have different requirements, usually collecting a lot of a particular symbol, or collecting a bunch of trophies, or getting a bunch of captives, right? But typically it's all based on having a ton of a resource or a ton of a symbol, basically, right? So these ambitions, during the round, you play a card as a 0 value card to trigger the ambition and say, I want this one to score me 5 points if I win Warlord, for example, okay? So that sounds good on paper. The problem is that the card that lets you do the ambition is based on what you randomly draw from the deck. So you see this little symbol here at the bottom left? That is a symbol that matches the ambition over here. You can see it matches the empath, right? So if you want to play this card in the 0 spot, that is the ambition you are doing. You can see where I'm going with this, right? So let's say my particular board state represents that I've got a lot of ships on the board and I can easily kill stuff. Or maybe I happen to have a lot of fuel resource because I've got a good engine going for fuel resource and that I have a character power that lets me do good with fuel, right? But then let's say I draw cards that only let me do Tyrant and Keeper, of which I have no captives and none of that symbol. What am I supposed to do? Because it means that the stuff that I'm doing well at, I can't trigger as an ambition. So I have to basically accept that even though I'm in a position where I could easily win on this particular objective, I can't because I didn't randomly draw the card that lets me do it. And people, I mean, do I need to get the Timon like meme? And everybody's okay with this? Did I miss something? It's like, seriously. I don't like the fact that literally I can have a game where because I'm doing well on something, the cards might just say, no, you can't score for it this round. And there's no way to get around it. You can't play a card in any way that lets you get past this. So if you don't draw the cards, you are screwed. End of story. And you can't diversify in all these things. You're going to be bad or good at some things. But if I'm doing really well on 2 of these, and somebody else happens to be doing well on the other 2, and they draw the cards for theirs and I don't draw the cards for mine, they're going to win. Full stop. Because you will not be able to transition from one thing you're doing well on to the other in comparison to somebody who's already doing well at that aspect. It's physically impossible. You won't have enough actions in the game to do it. So my scoring objectives are based on random chance. How is that a good aspect of design? I mean, this, you know, and there's a few other bits besides that I wasn't a fan of. But by all means, check it out. I mean, how many reviews have I got for that one? So arcs, come on, arcs. So that one has, I can't see at the moment. When did I review this one? I'm trying to think when I reviewed it. Let's see, arcs. Whoop, here we go. Yes, I used the intro of a Has-Been Hotel to do that one, so that is a thing. So how many views has that one got? 20,000 views. 8 months ago, 20,000 views, almost 800 likes. This has 403 comments. This one has a lot of views on it, okay? So, yeah, you're gonna find that this one has had a lot of talk about it. I wish I could see what the ratio is. I mean, I did this 8 months ago. So, okay, so can I scroll back 8 months ago? I mean, 30 videos is not easy. When did I do 8 months ago? So, how long was 8 months ago? 8 months ago would have been around this time. Oh, here we go. Arcs. Here we go. Arcs. So, 20,600 views. This is probably one of my most highest rated reviews. But look at the likes and dislikes. 800 likes, 135 dislikes. The problem is when you tell Arc fans that their game isn't as good as they think it is, boy, do they want to let you know. I mean, everybody who follows this designer and his style of games loves this guy, like wants to marry him, wants to go to bed with him. And so, you know, if you say, for example, if I said that Wild Gardens was bad, if I said that, I mean, Daybreak was another one. Daybreak, for some reason, fanboys just wanted to love this game so much. But if I say that, you know, Draft and Write Records was bad, nobody gives a monkeys. If I wanted to say Clink was bad, no one gives a monkeys. Same for all these other games up here, you know, nobody cares. But as soon as Daybreak's another example, you know, where loads of people who just don't like the fact you don't like their game, you know, maybe because it was meant to be an environmentally friendly game. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe it was just a bunch of environmentalists. Maybe Greenpeace didn't like the video. I don't know. But, you know, Arcs, cool blimey. You tell the people who like this game, who love this game, that you don't like it, they will come out and castrate you. It really does. You'll be a eunuch by the end of the week. But at the end of the day, my opinion, so deal with it. But A lot of people agree with me on this. I mean, more people liked it by miles than disliked, but yeah, believe me, a lot of people disagreed. And so, as I say, by all means, check out that review because that one is a beast of a review. It took me ages to do that one. Talked about a lot in it. I mean, I had to leave one aspect out, I think, from the rules explanation, which people try to use as their defense for like, oh, you didn't explain about this ability to spend resources to move or whatever, therefore your opinion is invalid. Trust me, that doesn't balance the game out, okay? It does not. So, yeah, the defenses I was getting from some people were really bad. I mean, like, really bad defenses. Some were good. There were some good debates with some people, but yeah, there was a lot of people that were literally just like, rabble, 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 and that was literally their whole argument. So, yeah, not a fan, but whatever. So, yeah, I think that will wrap it up because I'm not interested in the other categories. I don't see why you would have a podcast as a category on an award show because podcasts are subjective. I mean, it's just like this podcast. Somebody goes on a microphone and talks for an hour and a half. That's all it is. The only difference between one podcast and another is the quality of the microphone, which is not difficult, and the banter between people, which I have a disadvantage because it's just me. Okay, so I'm already at a disadvantage when it comes to my podcast. But some people have got teams of 2, teams of 3, and teams of 3 or more I think are too cluttered on podcasts because everyone's talking over each other. But, a pairing's pretty good. But I'm not voting on best podcast of the year or whatever. I only listen to so many myself anyway. But I digress. Hour 16, lengthy episode, but we've covered quite a bit. So I'll get on with editing this one and make certain it's running for you today. My throat is getting a little sore, but I don't feel like my illness has got any worse. So good. I think my neck's a bit stiff, but otherwise pretty good. So that's it for me on this episode of the Broken Meeple. I will see you at the UK Games Expo if you are going. Hope to meet you there. By all means, check out the videos I've been talking about. Hope you enjoyed my little rave and rant on the awards. But like I say, it's only a game. We all have our opinions, so by all means, you can have your own as well. And as long as you're civil about it, that's the way I do it. So take care, bye for now, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.